Hi, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema where I've seen a film. Oh, you can't see me. There I am. Oh, it's worse. I've just left the cinema. It's over there where I've seen a film, and I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home because it just saves time that way. I walk out of the cinema, I go have a little tinkle, then I come get in the car, and then I talk to you. Hi. Alright, so today we're here to talk about Kick-Ass 2. Okay, so, synopsis. Sort of picking up where the first film left off, you've got Kick-Ass, who is basically retired, and Hit Girl, who has not. And you also have the former Red Mist, who is now basically decided to become, well, MF, let's put it that way, since I don't try to use the hard language on these things, since, God, I hope kids don't watch them, but, you know, I just try to be reasonable. So basically, Mr. MF, as I'm sure he would like to be called, is still a little sore over the fact that Kick-Ass blew up his dad with a bazooka in the previous film. Spoilers if you haven't seen the first film, by the way. So he wants revenge and sets out to become the world's first actual supervillain, and just like Kick-Ass has inspired all of these other people to become costumed superheroes, the supervillain MF has decided to create, basically, shall we say, an injustice society of his own, funded by his vast inherited wealth. So, in that as well, you've also got, you know, Kick-Ass and Hit Girl both having to deal with growing up and being superheroes in the real world, or at least as real as it gets. And into all of that, hijinks soaked in blood and other bodily fluids ensue. Close enough. Okay, so again, we're in Sequelville, and it's a terrifying place to drive up to the city limit of Sequelville and wonder what it has in store for us. First of all, to summarize overall, and to sort of give myself a direction to go with this, since I'm making it up as I go along, let's see. I would pick 4 words to describe this film, to sort of summarize my take on it. Silly, ridiculous, violent, and worthy. Strange words to be all in the same summary, but it's silly in that, I mean, it's very aware, just like I think the first film was, in that it's got people dressing up in the real world as superheroes and trying to fight and or achieve crime. Can you achieve crime? Commit crime, you know what I mean. Although achieving crime sounds like a badge that you would get as an evil Boy Scout or something. I don't know. Anyway, so it's silly in that regard, in that there is a lot of just nods and winks to that. And it's ridiculous in that certain things happen, especially when you've got, you know, Hit Girl, who is basically, in essence, a 15-year-old trained assassin, attending a high school. It's like, I don't know, it's, you know what it is? It's like if John Hughes had been tapped to direct some sort of comedic sequel to The Professional. That's sort of like what Hit Girl's storyline in this is like. So it's ridiculous in those aspects as well. It's violent, just like the first one, and just like everyone was concerned about the first one, and with this one, oh, well, it's a violent film. Well, I mean, you sort of know that going into it. It's very violent. It's very stabby. It's very gun shooty. It's very explosive-y. It's got what you would expect from, I mean, dare I say it, the Kick-Ass franchise. Who knew those two words would ever go together? So, I mean, with Kick-Ass being a proper noun as opposed to, never mind. So, very violent, but it's worthy in a lot of aspects. Because, aspects, what am I, weird pronunciation. It's just a weird day. So, it's worthy in a lot of different aspects. Basically, first of all, and most importantly, the story makes sense. They've continued. Now, I've honestly not read the comic books. I meant to go and read the original Kick-Ass comic, the original, and I just never have. It occurs to me because, I don't know, I've gotten away from, reading most comics that don't involve zombies and badasses with katana blades. So I'm, so I don't know how well it follows the Kick-Ass 2 comic book. But I will say, from the film standpoint, it makes a lot of sense how they've continued the story, and it is truly a continuation of the first film, and it works. It's not like one of these sequels where, you know what I mean, where you can see like a big seam where they've tried to fuse the second film onto the first film, and it really does feel like, well, we sort of need to come up with a sequel, so let's just throw something at the wall. It really does feel like that they've thought about this and actually tried to make a decent story that continues and makes sense. So that, first of all, is the most important thing. The second thing is, even in a film with a bunch of flippy, gun, stabby stuff, you have some really, I think, great performances. Not only do you have the sort of, brutal and lethal and humorous Christopher Mintz-Plasse, I guess? I never say any names right, so please don't be offended. I know he watches. Aaron Johnson's good. Jim Carrey is fantastic in the role of Colonel Stars and Stripes. John Leguizamo's got a great role. Basically, you've got a bunch of people who are showing up and not treating this like some sort of, it could very easily have been some stupid direct-to-video feeling thing where they just showed up and went, well, this is a paycheck, let's sort of do this. No, it actually, the performances all work. And especially, first of all, do we miss Nicolas Cage? Yes, we do. Because, who would have thought that after 25 different comic book movies and attempts at comic book movies, that Nicolas Cage would finally find his finest comic book hour in the movie Kick-Ass? Who knew? So, we miss him. His presence is sort of there in the film. But Chloe Moretz is still, by far, the standout of everybody. Because she's just amazing. Hit Girl is fantastic. And I'll say this. What this film does for her that the first one didn't is you had, her being Hit Girl and kicking ass and whatnot, which was great. But with this film, you have her having to deal with high school. So again, like I said, that sort of professional reference, that in itself is both funny and at times heartbreaking, and at times you go, okay, I know where you're coming from with this, and you sort of wish that storyline for you might have ended like it does for her. So that I think is really good, and it gives her a chance to do more than just flip around and curse, which she does very well. Don't get me wrong, but it's a nice little thing to add to her character. And again, as far as characters go, and as far as the story goes, there wasn't anything in there that didn't make sense. I've been complaining a lot in these about how, the rules of the world that you've got are inconsistent, or the characters are inconsistent, but all of this makes sense. I don't know. I had fun. It's a film in which I did have fun, even though there were uncomfortable moments, because it really does bring that sort of costume nonsense into the real world, and in the real world, people get cut up. People get shot. People get their asses handed to them. All but literally. So those bits, it's sort of like, it feels like, oh, okay, well, you're sort of invested and you're enjoying the superhero bit of it, but here are the consequences. And, there are consequences. In the real world, there's consequences. So it does a good job of sort of reeling you in for that, and then giving it a bit of a payoff that, again, makes sense. It's not there to shock you. It doesn't, at no point did I feel like, even in the most extreme, ludicrous sort of, like there's one sort of gross out situation, it never felt extreme. It never felt like we were in like a Farrelly Brothers film. You know what I mean? So it all just sort of works and holds together. And I'm very happy about that, because I did enjoy the first film more than I thought I was going to. And this is a, as far as comic book sequels go, this is probably, as far as, apart from, like Dark Knight, which is just not even, I wouldn't consider it even in the comic book genre. It's a crime epic with two crazy people in costumes in it they just happen to be in there. But as far as just straight up comic book, Pow Saki type of thing, it's actually probably one of the better sequels, because it's held together better than most have. So, and it's sort of like, I don't know, with all these different superheroes, I kept thinking about one of my other favorite films like this, which this is sort of like, Mystery Men, but, like if it had been directed by, Quentin Tarantino or something, but with slightly, less punchy dialogue. I hope all of that makes sense. The film, let's put it this way, the film holds together a lot better than my improvised review does. But the important thing is, I enjoyed myself, I had a good time, and I felt like that I watched a decent movie, and I felt like I'd watched a decent sequel that didn't, completely shame itself in the face of its predecessor. So I'm happy about that. I'm pleased. I'm actually pleased. So, cup-wise, I think I'm going to go with a solid 3.5. Okay? 3.5 out of 5. Because I was so pleased, and I felt like at no point did it ever, get stupid or get schmaltzy or anything like that. It actually has a heart to it. Granted, a heart that, sort of, probably wants to stab you. It's a heart with a knife, basically, is what I think I'm trying to say. So, but I'm happy with it. Now, 3.5 out of 5. Should you see it? Well, this film obviously is not for everyone, and it's obviously not just, even if you like comic books and superheroes, it's not for every one of you either. Because, I mean, it's violent. And it is at times a little disturbing. So, I will say this, and of course you have to have seen the first film anyway. If you saw and enjoyed the first film, then I would say yes, definitely go and see this. I mean, as always, if you're going to go, see a matinee, because that just saves money. But I would say if you were worried about it from the standpoint of you liked the first film and you're worried what they were going to do with it, I didn't worry myself. Your mileage may vary. So I would say yes, definitely catch it, and catch a matinee if you can. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. So there you go. Yeah. So there you have it. I guess that's it. I've kicked my own ass with that one. Thanks so much for watching these Wayhomer reviews. If you do enjoy them, as always, we ask just one thing, please. Yes, we need to pay for the gas, and yes, my car needs work, and yes, I need medication probably, but we don't, not even ask you for any of that. What we ask for is just share this with someone that you love, or someone that you loathe. We don't care. Go on a social media network of your choice and share this with the world, because the word gets out there and we get more viewers, and well, I'm an attention whore, so it helps me. Anyway, So thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time on the Wayhomer Reviews. Bye.